All right. It's really exciting to see you guys all here. My friend, Father Potoff, is coming. He'll probably come, and Kathy can kind of show him where he'll go. So I'll be hearing the kids' confessions. It's because I really love yelling at kids. So when you come in and you confess your sins, I'm going to yell. Is that right? Did we decide on that? Oh, do I have to be nice to you? Okay. Oh, okay, I have to help you. Okay, fine, that's what I'll do, I guess. All right, fine, I'll help you guys. But for the parents, we found, I know you think I'm nice, but we found the nicest priest in Bureau County. So my friend, Father Potoff, he's the nicest priest in Bureau County. He's coming from Spring Valley. He was a year behind me in seminary, and he was a year behind myself and Father Gifford. So let's begin by reading one of my favorite Bible passages. Some people call this the parable of the prodigal son. What I like to call it is the parable of the really, really, really loving father, because the focus in this parable is the father. So then Jesus said, "A man had 2 sons, and the younger son said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me.'" So this son basically told his dad, "I wish you were dead." Told his dad, "I wish you were dead." And because he said, "I want all your stuff. I don't want to have a relationship with you. I want all your stuff," which is what we do when we sin. We say to God, "I want the things you give me, my body, my mind, my relationships, my video games, my phones, my everything. I want all the stuff you give me, but God, I don't want a relationship with you as Father." Right? So that's what the son said. "I wish you were dead. Give me all my stuff." Kind of mean, right? Kind of mean. Right? And we do that to God sometimes when we sin. So the father divided the property between them. So the father gave him his stuff. After a few days, the younger son collected all his belongings and set off to a distant country. So he goes a long, long way off. He thinks, this is where I can do whatever I want. Sometimes we think, I want to do whatever I want, right? Sometimes that's what we think. So he goes where he can do whatever he wants. And where he squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. Anybody ever squandered your inheritance on a life of dissipation? What do those words even mean? Basically it means he spent all his money. That's what it means. He spent all his money from all the stuff his dad gave him. Spent all the money. Horrible. Right? And then his dad gave him a lot of money. So he squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. When he had freely spent everything, a severe famine struck that country. So in other words, there was no food, nothing to eat. He had no money. And he found himself in dire need. So he hired himself out to one of the local citizens. And now this is the part where it gets really interesting. Who sent him to his farm to tend the swine, the pigs. Anybody ever been around pigs? Anybody ever been around pigs? They're beautiful, graceful, cute animals, aren't they? Sometimes they're cute, right? Ever seen a pig eat? It's really nasty. You can feed them just about anything, and they dig around in there and they drool, and it's dripping out of there. It's nasty. It's gross. But this guy was so poor, he had spent all of his dad's money that guess what? He longed to eat his fill of the pods on which the swine fed. He wanted to eat that nasty pig food because he was so hungry. His tummy was hurting him. His stomach was gnawing at him. But nobody gave him any. Coming to his senses, he thought, how many of my father's hired workers have more than enough food to eat? But here am I, dying from hunger. All the people who work for my dad, they're way better off than I am right now. So I can go and I can work for my dad. I know he'll never accept me as a son because I told him, "Dad, I wish you were dead. Give me all your stuff." I know he will never accept me as his son. But at least I could work for him. This is what the son is thinking. This is what the son is thinking, right? But now, he says, "I shall get up and go to my father, and I shall say to him." Now he's rehearsed this. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers." So he got up and went back to his father. Now this is the amazing part. Now, what do you guys think in that time period, a dad who was told this, what do you think he would do to his kid if his kid came back? What do you think? What's that? So this is what we know is going to happen, but most of the people at this time, this was a long time ago, this was during Jesus' time, when children weren't treated very well. And adult children weren't treated very well if they did bad things. And so in this time, the dad, he probably, what people were expecting when they're hearing Jesus' story, they're thinking, oh, that dad's he's gonna beat his adult son, he's gonna yell at him, he's gonna get angry at him, right? That's what that's what they're thinking, that's what they're expecting, right? But you're exactly right. While he was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him and was filled with compassion. So he was a long way away, but the dad was looking for him. The dad was looking out on the horizon. I wonder when my son's going to come home. I miss my son. I want him to be with me. So he went running. The dad went running, and he embraced his son. While he was still a long way off, he caught sight of him. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. Now the son's got this, he's still not sure what's going to happen. He's like, maybe he's just tricking me, and maybe he's going to lure me into a trap. So he recites real quick. He recites what he memorized. He says, Father, I have sinned against you and against heaven, and I no longer deserve to be called your son. But the dad interrupts him. Like, no. You're going to be my son again. And so he says to his servants, quickly bring the finest robes and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Not everybody in those days had shoes, by the way. To have sandals was a big deal. To have sandals on your feet was a big deal. I don't know if they were, Air Jordan sandals or what kind of sandals they were, but they were nice, right? To have sandals was a big deal. And then to have a robe, a nice new robe after his clothes were all tattered. And he took the fattened calf and slaughtered it. They got to eat steak that night. Instead of just the nasty drool from a pig. They got to eat steak that night. And he says, let us celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found. Then the celebration began. This isn't just for kids, this is for parents. That no matter how far away from God we are, no matter how far, God the Father is always looking, saying, I wonder when my son, I wonder when my daughter is going to come back. And he's sending messages to us through other people, through our own prayer, and he wants us to join him. And so, God calls parents to be loving, merciful, but most importantly, he calls all of us, kids, parents, teachers, priests, he calls all of us to be faithful sons and daughters who above all believe that the most important thing about God, if I were to ask you, what's your favorite thing about yourself? Somebody might say, well, my nice curls, right? Or my athletic ability. Or if you were to ask God, what's your favorite part about yourself? He would say, my mercy. That's what I want people to know about me, is that I will forgive over and over and over and over again. But in order to forgive, I have to have someone come to me, like the son came to the father. Now the son, he was not perfectly sorry. He just wanted some food to eat. He was not perfectly sorry. So God does not require us to be perfectly sorry. He does not require us to go to confession perfectly. All he requires is that we want to come back to the Father. That's all he requires. So I'm really excited, as I said, to see all of you. What we're going to do today, as I said, I'm going to hear the confessions of the kids, and Father Potoff is going to hear the confessions of the adults. And if the kids get done before the adults, then the adults can start coming to me as well. This little light I'll use for my confessional. For Father Potoff, we have here this newfangled technology called a candle. They just invented it. It's really exciting. You take one candle, And whoever wants to go to confession to Father Potoff, you take this candle and you go in there. If the candle goes out, totally okay. It doesn't matter. It's still a candle, right? You go in there, and you can go either face-to-face or behind, kneel behind him or sit behind him. Either one. You go anonymously or face-to-face. Whatever helps, whatever works for you. And you take this candle and you just have it in there. So when you only see one candle, then another person can come. They can take this candle, and they can, just kind of wait probably over there, stand over there, just so that far enough away that you can't hear what's going on. And I'm going to actually close this door right here as well. And then the next person, when you come back out, when you come out of the confessional, they take the candle and you set it right here. And then that person goes in with their candle, and then somebody comes up and they pick this candle up, right? So there's just one candle. If you see two candles sitting here, and you're an adult and you haven't, or you're a non-reconciliation kid and you haven't gone to confession, well, that's your invitation. That's your sign. That's the sign of God the Father who wants you to come and receive his love and mercy. Okay? So that's all of that. And then, that's pretty darn simple. The papers are here. If you need help, Father will help you. We're going to play some nice music and just spend some time praying. Okay? All right.
Amen.